we are back, everybody, for episode 2 of my quest to upgrade my slow, low-end PC into something manageable and easy to use for this channel. So, I started out with about $200 PC, very slow, and I upgraded it. It was about $140, I believe, for the processor. Now it is 5 times as fast, and it is smoking fast. But I found another bottleneck. With files loading it onto the computer and even just starting it up, it's slow. The computer's fast, but it has to wait for those files to go, and it has to wait for the files to get delivered to it. So, as everybody told me, and what I'm going to test today is the hard drive. I got this SSD solid state drive hard disk for about, I think it was about 50 bucks off of Amazon. Now, I have a hard disk already, or an HDD hard disk drive in my computer, about the same size, but it is running so super slow. So that's what I want to test. How I'm going to test it. The benchmarks. I'm going to do a synthetic test. It was Crystal Disk Mark is going to give me the benchmarks of how fast files are being read and write onto the system. I'm going to be able to shut down the computer, turn it back up, and see how fast it actually takes to load the computer. And then for the third test, I'm going to actually see how fast the hard disk is able to tell the computer how many files it actually has. So those 3 tests should give me a very good indication of how slow and how fast I'll be able to get my computer just with a simple hard drive update.
Installation of the new hard drive is a very easy process. First, I need to remove 3 screws to be able to lift up on the bay or the tray that rests the optical drive. What I'm going to do is remove that optical drive because 1, I don't really even use it. 2, I only have a limited number of SATA ports for this computer, so I'm going to use the one connected to the optical drive or the CD drive to actually feed the new drive. And 3, I'm going to reduce power usage because with this system, I only have a limited number of power that I can use with it. So removing that drive will let me add another hard drive to be able to compensate for that power. And now with that optical drive removed, installation of the new hard drive is as easy as plugging in the SATA data cable, the power cable, and then mounting it or securing it with just a little bit of double stick tape. That way it doesn't move around any. From here, all I have to do is button up the machine and test how it works.
Now with the drive installed into the computer, all I have to do is go to my computer right over here, and it's not there. That's because it hasn't been configured yet. If I go down to Properties and go to the Device Manager, you can see that the disk drive is being detected. It detects my hard drive or the hard HDD drive, and it also detects the solid state disk. So both of them are there, but it's not seeing it. And that's just because we gotta manage this computer. We gotta tell it that there's an extra drive there. So all I have to do is go down here to Disk Manager, let this bad boy load up, and as you can see right down there at the bottom, there is an extra disk. It's just not allocated to anything. All it is saying, or the computer's saying, I see a disk, but I don't know what to do with it. So we need to tell what to do with it. And what I will do is just create a new simple volume. That is it. I'm going to go with all the recommended settings, assign a disk letter, which I will not need because I'm going to clone my old hard drive onto the new one. So just for now, I'm just going to name it as G. And done. And quick format. And that is all to it. Now, if I go back to my computer, refresh it, and it's there. It's a new format, no name on it, just the G, but I have that drive now recognized by Windows. From here, all I have to do is go back to my main desktop and run the software that the drive came with, and it's just going to clone my old drive onto the new one. And here we go, final. So my first boot drive is going to be the SSD, and the second is going to be the old one. Because of the exact same thing, I wonder if I can just disable it. to test it out. There we go. Cool. So I am going to save and exit F10. And now it should boot from the SSD, thinking it is completely same drive, but it's just going to boot up a lot faster. And the results are in. Following benchmarking, installation, both were super easy. However, cloning that SSD or the new solid state drive from my old drive, that took the longest. That was a couple hours. That was the longest part of this install. After that, benchmarked again, and I have some results, and they're pretty awesome. Obviously, the SSD is much better than the hard drive, or the previous one, the hard disk drive that I had before. So for boot, it took about 1 minute 15 seconds to boot up from the Dell little logo to actual installation or activation of Windows. And that was 1:15 to 15 seconds, 80% decrease in how long it took to boot up. Now for the Crystal Mark, which is the synthetic bench, it went from a score of about 100 read and write to 500 megabytes read and write, and obviously as advertised on the packaging. Now for indexing the entire drive, it went from about 2 minutes to about 1 minute, más o menos, about 15 to 20 seconds, which is a 33% decrease, which is all very awesome. So, what's the conclusion? Yes, the drive, you're going to spend some money on it. Like I said, about 50 bucks for the same size drive that I have now, and it is much faster. Obviously, you're going to have a faster PC with it. Now, I can still use my old drive, because what I'm going to do is wipe that old one and use that as an archive for all my old and large files that I don't want sitting on the SSD or the new drive. So I'll be able to do my work once I'm done video editing, once I'm done with that project, archive those files and move on, but have a fast machine. So that is pretty cool system, and it bumped it up. So to recap, $200 machine, very slow. The $120, $130 for the processor, it's getting up there in price, but it's going a lot faster. Now, with the fast hard drive, it is smoking fast. So I'm about at, what was that, 120, or 200, 120, plus the 50, I'm at 370. So I'm still below what a fast, high-speed gaming or video editing machine costs, but I'm still pretty good. So let me know what you like, dislike, what I did right, wrong, and what other stuff I should do to my machine to get it into this high-speed machine that I want it to be. So drop those comments and let me know. With that, as always, thank you for watching. I appreciate every one of you guys, and stay safe.